Something big just happened in the foldable world, and it changes the game more than it seems at first glance. Not long ago, we shared an exciting first look at Samsung's crease-less foldable OLED panel from CES 2026. Back then, the buzz suggested this breakthrough display could power both the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Apple's very first foldable iPhone. Now, a fresh report adds a surprising twist. Yes, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is getting this futuristic panel, but Apple is taking a slightly different path. According to ZDNet Korea, the crease-less OLED shown at CES will appear in the Galaxy Z Fold 8, but not in Apple's foldable iPhone. The reason is simple but fascinating. Samsung MX and Apple have chosen completely different materials to strengthen their foldable displays. Apple is reportedly betting on glass, while Samsung MX is going all in with a metal plate. What makes this even more interesting is that the core OLED layer is the same in both panels. The real difference lies beneath. Traditionally, foldable OLED panels relied on polyethylene terephthalate film for support. Samsung Display has now replaced that with a metal reinforcing plate, boosting structural stability and durability. Apple, on the other hand, is said to be using glass as its support layer. Inside every foldable OLED panel is a complex stack of layers, including a polyimide substrate, a backplate, OLED element itself, a touch sensor, and ultra-thin glass. These layers are bonded together using optical clear adhesive, which works as both a buffer and a glue. Samsung Display has refined this adhesive layer to tackle one of the biggest foldable complaints, visible creases. By reducing stiffness compared to earlier generations, the panel gains softer cushioning between the OLED layer and the ultra-thin glass when folded. The result is smoother bends and far fewer wrinkles. Both the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Apple's foldable iPhone are expected to launch in the second half of this year. There are also whispers that Samsung is preparing a Galaxy Z Fold 8 variant with a wider display, possibly matching the foldable iPhone screen proportions. The real showdown will be fascinating to watch. Apple could surprise everyone with fresh interface ideas and deeper app optimization, while Samsung may keep its advantage with camera hardware and faster charging. Leaks suggest the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could pack a 200-megapixel main camera, a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 10-megapixel telephoto camera. Apple's foldable iPhone is rumored to feature a simpler dual-camera setup. Interestingly, both brands are expected to rely on a side-mounted fingerprint reader. Foldables are no longer just evolving. They are starting to define the future. Something big may have finally happened in the foldable world, quietly, almost casually. But if this is real, it changes everything. The foldable crease problem might finally be cracked. A trusted leaker suggests Samsung is rethinking the very foundation of its foldables, using a less rigid OLED support panel to change how stress moves through the display. The result sounds bold. A Galaxy Z Fold screen where the crease is no longer the first thing your eyes lock onto. At CES 2026, Samsung's booth felt familiar at first. Crowded, busy, full of curiosity. Yet the show itself moved slower than usual, and that slowdown did something interesting. It pulled attention toward one standout proof of concept demo. There, on display, was a foldable with a crease so subtle it almost disappeared, unlike the obvious bends we have seen on every Galaxy Z Fold so far. According to well-known leaker Ice Universe, Samsung's new approach uses perforated panels beneath the OLED flexible glass. The explanation sounds complex at first, and the tone of the report feels slightly artificial intelligence generated, but the core idea makes sense. In current designs, pressure builds against rigid base panels when the phone folds. Since the glass has nowhere to flex inward, that force concentrates right at the center, where support is weakest. Over time, the glass settles into that stressed shape, leaving behind the crease we all know too well. With a perforated panel, that pressure can spread out. Instead of attacking one fragile line, the stress flows deeper into the phone's chassis. In theory, the flexible material can subtly move through these micro openings, easing the load on the hinge area and allowing the display to recover more naturally after each fold. The exact size of these perforations and how the display behaves in real-world use remains unknown. Samsung has not confirmed anything officially, and there is no guarantee this technology will land in the Galaxy Z Fold 8 or any other foldable arriving this year, including Apple's rumored entry. Still, if Samsung can pull this off without pushing prices out of reach, this would not be a small upgrade. It would be a defining moment. A quiet engineering shift that finally makes foldables feel complete.